Aloha and welcome to this episode of the Faith and Family First Show, where we discuss issues that impact faith, family, and freedom right here in the state of Hawaii. I'm your host, Eva Andrade, and I'm so glad that you joined us today. We have an exciting and informative lineup. Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the opening day of the state capitol and why it's so important for people of faith to engage in. And then we're going to delve into the highlights of this year's March for Life. And this is a powerful event that unites communities to stand up for the sanctity of life. And then finally, we're going to wrap up with practical tips about how to engage in these discussions respectfully and effectively. So let's chat about that. The opening of the state capitol, it's always a significant event for our community, and especially for those of us that are committed to advocating for values rooted in faith and family. And this year, the capitol, it buzzed with activity as lawmakers and hundreds of citizens gathered to kick off the 2025 legislative session. And I was proud to be there, but what I've done is I pulled some clips together for you so that you can experience that day for yourself. But I want to talk about the opening remarks of Senate President Ron Kochi. When he did his opening remarks, he launched right in to the Senate priorities.
Recently produced the goals of the Senate, of the majority, and we have not yet gotten them put into a booklet, but soon it will be out and available, and we are here to tell you that insurance is a big problem facing our community, but as it's been highlighted by the fires in California and the hurricanes in Florida and North Carolina, this is a national problem, and it may take us working with the federal government to come up with a solution so that we can afford to insure our homes, protect our investments, and continue to choose to live in a beautiful place like Hawaii and not get insurance premiums that are so high that we can no longer choose to live here. So we are acutely aware of that, and Senator Keohokalole has been working or leading the Senate's efforts in the interim working group that has been doing this, and through his committee, we will be carrying the discussion to look for solutions. And his committee will continue to work on issues to ensure that Hawaiian Electric is able to deliver power to all of our communities on Oahu, Maui County, and Hawaii Island. I left Kauai out because we are run by a cooperative, and we're the only island in the chain not getting our power through Hawaiian Electric. But it's critically important that everyone get the power so that we have the economic development and the quality of life that we enjoy here. Education is going to be the key if we are going to create a better path for each of our children. We in the Senate are committed to continue to work with the administration, and the governor has put Lieutenant Governor Luke on point for getting those seats for universal pre-K at no charge to everyone in the state of Hawaii. It is expensive to pay for childcare, and it is clear that if you go to pre-K as a K through 12 student, you have better educational outcomes. And so we are committed to do that. We are committed on the K through 12 program. Senator Kidani has been a long and passionate advocate for education. And Senator De La Cruz, as he's led the Ways and Means Committee, visiting each of the islands, has made it clear that the days when we had academies because we wanted to create opportunities for students that were passionate about different things and got a certificate on the wall was not the goal anymore. The goal is to go from internships to apprenticeships, to have these students in the academies working in the area that they're interested in maybe pursuing a career in later, so that when they are done, it's not the paper on the wall that matters, it's the job that they have or the ability to have prepared them to go to college, and he has been driving this message and changing the paradigm, and I think it's a real game changer about preparing our children to face the future and to wind up with jobs that pay better and to be able to better support their families.
As you can see, this session promises to be a very, very busy one. Now, on the House side, House Speaker Nadine Nakamura, she began with a story, a very powerful story about her mother, and I'd love to share that right now.
I am incredibly honored and humbled to serve as the Speaker for the 33rd legislative session. Today marks a new chapter in our collective journey. We come together with the sacred responsibility to safeguard the well-being of our islands and all who call Hawaii home. As we approach today, I have given thought to my new role as Speaker. I have thought about duty, responsibility, and challenges ahead. And I turn to someone special for advice, my 97-year-old mother, Mabel Maeda. Mom, can you stand again and be recognized? I'd like to share a little bit of history about my mother. She was orphaned at the age of 6, grew up in Paoa, attended Kawananakoa School from 1st to 9th grade, and went on to McKinley High School. Her life story and memories growing up are very much influenced by decisions made by the territorial and federal governments. Her guardian, a Tendikyo minister, was taken away in the middle of the night on December 7th, 1941, after the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. She did not see him again until he returned 4 years later after being imprisoned in New Mexico. During World War II, there was a workforce shortage in Hawaii. All able-bodied students were required to work in the pineapple fields once a week throughout her 3 years of high school, making 47 cents an hour. The prevailing sentiment at the time was that the economic engine, sugar and pineapple, could not be allowed to sputter. When she graduated from McKinley High School, my mom remembers wearing a white dress, a red carnation lei, and carrying the mandatory gas mask. The decisions of government officials 80 years ago made an indelible impact on my mom's life growing up in Hawaii.
You know, I loved that story, especially because my own grandfather had a very similar one. Not so much about the concentration camp portion, but about being forced to work as a young child in the pineapple fields. Over 3,000 bills are being tracked. And our focus is going to be on critical issues such as gambling, parental consent, recreational marijuana, and of course, life-related policies. And some of these bills align with our values. Others are going to present significant challenges. And for example, we're seeing renewed efforts to legalize recreational marijuana or to enshrine reproductive rights into our Hawaii state constitution. And if passed, these type of bills could have lasting effects on our keiki and our community safety. So what are some of the things that we can do to stay involved? Well, we can sign up to receive alerts from Hawaii Family Forum at www.hawaiifamilyforum.org. We can pray for our legislators because this is going to be a very tough legislative session, as always, with over 3,000 bills that they're going to have to be discussing at the state capitol level. And of course, just stay plugged in. Opening day reminds us that change happens when we show up and we speak up. So let's move to our next topic, one that demonstrates the power of united voices, the March for Life.
The March for Life is one of the most moving and important life events that happens right here in the state of Hawaii, and it's coordinated by the Respect Life Office of the Diocese of Honolulu. And this is important because it brings all of these people together from different ages, different denominations, and walks of life, just so that we can stand together for the sanctity of human life. And that's from conception until natural death. One of the speakers, Bishop Larry Silva, made a few remarks that we'd like to share with you now.
We think of someone who is very poor and maybe has a number of children already, and then she's pregnant unexpectedly. And she thinks, I can't do this. I can't handle this. And so we think, well, yeah, we need to be sympathetic to that. Yes, we need to reach out to her. And if she decides that she just can't handle this baby, then why not abort this baby? This is how Satan works. He takes something that's good, some caring for this woman in her time of trial or time of need, and then he leads us down his path of destruction. And so we have to be discerning and spiritually grounded in the Holy Spirit.
What a beautiful reminder of why we do what we do. The March for Life is not just about the event itself, but it's about all the ripple effects that it creates. It's a public witness to the value of every human life and a powerful way to engage hearts and minds. This year's theme reminded us that protecting life is a responsibility that you and I, each of us, it's one that we share. Another interesting thing that happened during the March for Life is that several legislators came down and shared their mana'o on the life issue. And so I'd like to share those remarks.
Matsumoto. I have the honor to represent Mililani and Mililani Mauka in the State House. I also serve as the Republican leader in the State House of Representatives, and I have members of my caucus here today. And each of them are going to have a few words for you, but wanted to share this issue is near and dear to my heart. My father was adopted from Kapi'olani Hospital. And have many conversations how very easily he could have not been here today. And it's something that we've discussed in our family, especially during the past few years when there's policy going back and forth across the country and in our state. But what I wanted to talk to you about today is how important you are in the process. We are the elected officials and we are the ones who have a vote in that chamber there. But we rely on testimony from you. And so what I want to encourage each and every one of you to do is to get involved, whether that's like you are today, coming down to the Capitol, whether it's testifying inside one of the committee rooms, or whether it's sharing the message with others. Your role is so important. And I know the last thing I'll say is, when I ask people to testify, they say, oh, that's so scary. And I want to let you know, we have made it easier to get involved in the process. Even if you don't know what to write, you can just click support or oppose. And that makes a difference as well. You can also call your legislators, you can write to them. Your voice makes a huge difference. And I can't tell you how important it truly is. If you want to know how to testify, if you go to HawaiiHouseGOP.com, we have an amazing video. I will say it's kind of like a Hawaiian Airlines safety video, but it tells you how to testify, and we break it down how easy it is. You can take it, text it to your friends and family, because getting involved changes policy and makes a difference. So thank you so much for taking the time to come here today, but I'm going to pass it off to my colleagues now to share a few more words.
Aloha! It's so good to see so many of you. I recognize friendly faces. I love your shofar. I love your Love Life sign. I see pictures of Jesus. I just see so many people who support and love life. I want you to repeat after me. Life! Life! And that's what we're here for. We're here to protect and defend life. All of you guys, you can join us and have an office here and vote pro-life bills into law, but you first have to run for office. So please, all of you get registered, not only to vote, but all of you run for office, and then knock on thousands of doors, raise thousands of dollars, and then you can join us. And then you can vote yes on pro-life bills, and then we can convert our state from a pro-choice state, which is really a pro-murder state, and convert that to a pro-life state. Those are the simple steps. So what I did is I went to Hale, became a registered voter, and then you go to the Office of Elections, become a registered candidate. It's that simple. Go do it.
Aloha mai kākou, aloha! Thank you for being here. This is my third March for Life. Since the last 2 years we've been here, and I always say this because it's so important, and I hope those who are listening on the railings, sometimes the pro-choicers want to come out and listen on the railings, that they hear us, and they understand that here in Hawaii, life is central to our culture. It's who we are as local people in Hawaii. We respect life. We stand for life. It's in our own state motto. The life of the land. The what of the land? The life of the land is perpetuated in what? In righteousness. And now, this building for decades has passed legislation and moved us in unrighteous directions, but that's because oftentimes many of us are silent. And though we are a minority in this building, we together in Hawaii, we pro-lifers are a majority in this state, because most local people have a regard and respect for life. So keep fighting, don't back down, come down to the Capitol, understand that this is your building and it's your job to hold these guys accountable. So God bless you all, and let's keep fighting for life.
Aloha. I'm Representative David Alpos out in District 41, which is Ewa Beach, part of Colina, moving in that direction. Notice some of you guys out here. A year ago, they passed a bill changing the age limit from 16 to 14 to get an abortion. Before it used to be 18. And I stand up against that bill. I remember being in that room right there and fighting, how can you let that happen? How can our kids get an abortion even without our parents' consent? You know, the woman can go in there and kill that baby. And I personally know how it feels. That I wasn't there, if I couldn't be there for my daughter, if I couldn't be there for save that child. You know, they're taking away the rights of our parents to not support our kid when our kid need the most help that they can get mostly from their own parents. But this is where we need your support and your help. By them taking away those rights, we can get in there and saving our kids' life from making the wrong decisions down the way, because the best counsels that we can have is not the outside counsel from different counselors or their auntie. The best counsel it could be the parent and their mom and dad to lay with them for years as they go through these situations. So come and testify, join us with this fight, because it's really important. I remember crying after that day. We choose life. I wouldn't have been here if I was getting aborted, and a lot of us wouldn't. So thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Garni Shimizu and I represent District 32, which is, alright, right on. It's one of my constituents over there, right on. Moanalo, all the way up to Pearl Ridge, but I just want to thank all of you for being here. It's amazing to see all of you, especially all the young people. It really touches me, and I'm very inspired to see all of you here fighting for a good cause. It's actually more than a good cause. It's, as we said, life itself. And as Representative Matsumoto shared about her father, I found out that I was born out of wedlock. So that means that I was conceived before my mom and dad got married, and you know, they had a choice, and I'm so glad that they chose to have me. And I know they struggled as a young, unmarried, well, they did get married, but as a young college-age couple struggling through life. But I want to thank them. They're in heaven right now that they had me. But we want to respect life Absolutely, because God is the only one who gives life.
Of course, we want to acknowledge that there were some legislators who were unable to come down that are also champions for life. And that's Senator Mike Gabbard, Representative Sam Kong, and there may be others, and I apologize if I missed any of them. In today's polarized world, discussing controversial topics like life issues, marijuana legalization can feel overwhelming. But as people of faith, we are called to be both courageous and compassionate. And here are 3 key principles that we have to keep in mind. First one is listen first. Before jumping into any debates, we need to take time to understand the other person's point of view. We need to ask questions and show genuine interest. In fact, let's listen to some more advice from Speaker of the House, Nadine Nakamura, on how we should treat others.
So when I asked my mother what advice she'd give me and my fellow legislators, she said that we should try to be humble and respect each other. She said to overlook the faults that we all have and find the good in each other. Find the good in each other is great advice, because as we know, nothing is in the House is accomplished alone. It is a simple truth that to be effective as representatives, we must work together.
Or even some advice from newly elected Representative Garner Shimizu.
And I just invite Aloha Keakoa to be our guiding light, that whatever we do with aloha and with love. We may disagree with people, we may talk to people who come against us, but let us have the spirit of love and aloha, which truly represents God. Thank you.
And finally, a word from Representative Sam Kong, who was unable to come down for the March for Life. But I asked him how people should plug in, and here's what he said.
To Sam Kong, you all know him, Representative Kong. Do you have any message for our people on how they should be turning out?
Yes, you should come on out and testify and meet all the representatives. Let them know how you feel.
Amen.
Yes.
We need to speak the truth in love. That's Ephesians 4:15. That's a reminder that we're supposed to speak the truth in love. We have to avoid harsh language and personal attacks. And it's hard to do sometimes when we feel like people are not listening to what we have to say. Instead, we need to focus on our convictions. And we do that in grace, in humility. 3, we have to find common ground. Even in disagreements, there's always common ground. And for example, on the issue of marijuana, many people share concerns about youth access and safety. We have to find common ground, especially on the issue of marijuana. We all agree that we should focus on the safety of our youth and on our communities. So these are the areas that we have to begin our conversations on, those things that we agree. That's how we create productive dialogue. Respectful engagement, it does not compromise our values. It means that we are bringing light to the darkness. It means that we're standing firm even when we feel like there is no hope. Remember, our goal is not to win arguments, but to change hearts. And finally, as a word of encouragement, I'd like to leave you with some words from Dawn O'Brien, many of you know, as well as Lani Ka'a'a, who happened to be at the state capitol on opening day, and this is what they had to say.
You need to be praying, you need to be coming down and blessing, you need to be salt and light, because all it takes for darkness to win is for the light not to be present. So come be present. Yes. God bless you, and aloha always wins.
Thank you for joining us on today's podcast. We've covered a lot from opening day to the highlights of the March for Life. As we move forward, I want you to stay engaged. Stay prayerful. Stand together, because we can make a difference for Hawaii's future. So make sure you like, share, subscribe, hit that notification button so you'll know every time we upload a new video. And we will see all of you next week. Mahalo, everybody.